Hey everybody, this is Rustin with Access and Metal Nation, and we're here today in the green room. Not that it's particularly green, but with Nathan Hunt from Shaman's Harvest. And of course, some of the other guys are floating around as well. So
it does have all the penises that most green rooms have.
Is that a thing in green rooms, is penises?
Yeah.
So I was going to ask, we were just listening to the full album on the way out, so I normally ask, how's everything in your world? But beyond the hookers and the blow, how's everything in your world?
That's great, man. We're on the easiest tour that we've ever done in our lives, and packed houses every night. Can't complain, really.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, you guys are out with Nickelback right now. I think Daughtry just finished up with you guys last night. Cheap Trick's going to be jumping on the tour for the next leg. So, how, do you guys do anything differently to sort of adjust for that, going from like these massive arena stages to coming and doing like little clubs?
No, I mean this has been our bread and butter for our entire career. So, I mean, this is the easy part. The arenas, that's what we have to adjust for.
Well, let's talk about what we're here for, which is the new album, because it's a fantastic record. Like I said, we were listening to it on the way in. It's very rare anymore that you get a complete album, and that's what you guys have created with the Red Hands Black Deeds record. It's full from beginning to end. There's no songs to skip. There's continuity to it. You guys just outdid yourselves with this album.
Well, I guess that's what you shoot for every record, right? It was a record that we made in the studio, so it was pretty much, all the songs were written relatively in a very short period of time. So I think the energy was, even though the songs are pretty different from one to the other, the energy is the kind of the binding.
Right. There's a lot of authenticity and an organic feel to it.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one, we didn't really have much of a plan going into the record. But that was the one plan, that was the one thing that we wanted to try to capture was just a genuine feel, and just the art of writing songs,
Right.
as opposed to the art of perfecting songs.
Well, and you guys had such an amazing response to the Smoking Hearts and Broken Guns album. Was it important for you guys to sort of push away from that a little bit and go in a slightly different direction?
Yeah. There was definitely there was a nervous tension, I think, especially once the record was done. We're like, well, this is it, are the fans going to accept this record, and I think for the most part they have. I mean, there's some people that are disgruntled about it, but I feel like if you pleasing everybody, you're not doing it right.
Right. I'm with you on that. For me, to my ear, Red Hands Black Deeds has sort of a moody, dark intensity to it. Tell us about the album from your perspective.
That's kind of it's kind of where we're at, in the world, and it feels like it was easy to write about some of the darker aspects of life, right now, and it was just something that we tapped into immediately, and I think whenever you can do that, you shouldn't fight it. Just go with it, right? Till the very last song, of course, to the hidden track. Just ruin your mood.
Well, and that's on the last album. It was very personal in many respects to you and a lot of the stuff you were going through. This time, it seems very personal, but to everybody can relate to what's going on.
I mean, yeah, if you can write a song where people make it theirs, and I mean I think that's the goal for every songwriter. Should be anyway.
A lot of great lyrical stuff going on this album, probably the deepest that you've had so far. And there's just so much going on out in the world right now that you can really relate and connect to on this, and I think that's what really makes this album so appealing, beyond obviously the music's wonderful too. So
thank you.
Keith Armstrong produced the album with you. What did he bring to the table?
Just a fresh look, man. You know, he lives in that LA world, so that's a different vibe than what we're used to.
Far cry from Missouri.
Yeah, it's really far. But he had a concept of how to take some of these raw ideas and turn them into reality. You know, and he brought an energy, the sense of just being able to experiment and explore. You know, I mean, that's like the last. You know, art is the last kind of the last thing we as, you know, humans, we have this need to branch out and explore and this is more of an exploration internally, you know, as opposed to you know, everything's already been done, you know what I mean? So you have to accept that and then figure out a way to do it in a new way. And he was willing to do that and take that journey with us.
Well, and it's funny because you say new way, but in many respects you sort of went old school with this. A lot of analog
Sure.
stuff, some musical implements that maybe haven't really been used much before.
Yeah.
At least not in rock and roll. Tell us a little bit about some of that.
You know, I mean, you know, it'd be like just going in this room and wanting to know what that couch over there sound like percussively as like a kick drum or something like that. You know, just figuring out ways to make sounds out of everyday objects that aren't necessarily instruments. You know what I mean? I mean, that was part of the fun. You know, and Keith was, you know, he was a key part of that. You know, he's an integral part of figuring that out. He's got, you know, many years in the studio, and he's one of those people that sees sounds in color. So when he would explain things like, you know, I want this take to feel more blue or more red or something like that, and we would have to interpret that. And we would never like perfectly capture what he was talking about, and he would never perfectly capture what we were talking about, but that was like part of the magic. Was, I mean, that's kind of part of being in a band as opposed to being in just, you know, here's a label that they hired some people and here's like just a singer or whatever. This is like the result of communication, or the lack of, is kind of, I think, a magic of making a record as a band.
All right. What was the most challenging aspect of making this record for you guys?
Probably just, we toured extensively for Smoking Hearts Broken Guns record, and didn't really have an opportunity to place ourselves in a creative space, because we're just working, just surviving. You go to survival mode, you know, on the road. So like me, I just now woke up. You know what I mean? So trying to just, you know, set our minds into that mode of creation, that was pretty tough, you know, initially. But then once it happens, man, it just starts. You got to capture it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to go in, because you guys, I think, had like parts of 2 songs ready when you went in, and then just had to sort of develop it all together. That's how it used to be anyway. We guys get together, jam it out, and just come up with whatever works, and it flows so well.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. That's. I mean, there's most of the Alice in Chains records were done that way.
Yeah.
Same thing.
All right. Well, I know you just woke up, and I don't want to steal too much of your time. You guys are getting ready to go out with Seether after you finish up some of these headline dates and the Nickelback tour, and then finally Shiprocked.
Yeah.
Because you guys were, I think, supposed to play it last year, and then the Blackstone Cherry thing happened and didn't happen.
Yeah,
and,
right. Yeah.
So thank you, Katie, for that.
Yeah, that was a bit of a roller coaster for us, but we wouldn't have had this tour if that all would have gone through. So.
All right, so just for fun, before we get out of here, while I was waiting for you, I was checking my fantasy football scores because I'm just all sorts of nerdy like that.
Uh-huh.
What's the nerdiest thing that you do?
is the least nerdy thing that I do? This would be a quicker question. Man, I'm kind of the, you could listen to the lyrics and realize what a dork I am. I mean, I'm a Game of Thrones nerd. I'm a Game of Thrones nerd from 1997. Like, I've read them all and all this stuff.
Nice.
I think I was like one of those nerds that played Dungeons and Dragons in the basement, like when I was a kid and shit like that. So yeah, I'm trying to put a level of cool on me is pretty hard.
Well, so then I got to ask you, Game of Thrones. A lot of people complaining that the new season was sort of forced. Characters were forced into doing things that weren't really true to their characters.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought that it was shot beautifully.
Always, yeah.
And I think that was like the best aspect of it. I think it was the most epic looking of all the seasons. But yeah, they didn't feel natural whatsoever. I'm pissed off.
Yeah. Hopefully they bring it all together in the final season. So Nathan Hunt, Shaman's Harvest here in Jerome, Idaho tonight.
Yeah.
Out on tour with Nickelback, getting ready to go out with Seether, some headline dates. We're looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks down in Boise as well. So thanks for taking a little bit of time to chat.
Yeah, we're looking forward to the Boise show.
Absolutely.
And I think it's the last one.
Before you guys...
Yeah, before we go home.
Yeah, nice.